What's up, my people? It's your girl with Tomboy Chronicles. And before I go in here and have some all-you-can-eat crab legs with the homie while we discuss the state of this dating world that we're in and really just complain and vent, I just wanted to talk about a few things. I mean, and you know, at this point, yes, I started back dating. I decided to get a dog, and that fell through. So now I got to go back to dating. And it's weird, but you know, my life's getting a little mundane and I was getting a little bored, and I know that's hard to believe because of stuff that I do, but the way my brain works, I'm really good at what I'm doing, so it's not really a big of a challenge. So I need something else to fill time. And don't get me wrong, I love hanging out with my girlfriends. We have a great time and things like that, but I need to have a balance of hormones, testosterone, you know what I'm saying? I need to balance it out. So, you know, I talk to my guy friends here and there, and that helps out. I go hang out with my brother, that helps out, or I'll talk to him because, you know, it's you know, the men conversation, when you talk to your male friends, they're really like direct. They ain't going for all that fluff and stuff. And your female friends, they're supportive and nurturers, because we need both though. You need both. So I gotta have the balance or I'll just go crazy. So, yeah, so we're probably going to talk about the ins and outs of that and the challenges or whatever. And these men out here is crazy. I'm just going to say this, and I'm going to move on to whatever else I was going to talk about. If you come to me as a man, you need to continue to come to me as a man. I don't know what's going on out here where they're going to ask you out and they came to you. Like, you came to me. You asked me out. Now, all of a sudden, I got to jump through hoops to go out with you when you ask me out. Like, I gotta put you on a pedestal or something. I don't know. But that'll probably end up on an episode of Linguistic Lips. And of course, Linguistic Lips, we are getting the logistics of Linguistic Lips together. So episodes are coming out. I'm thinking about releasing, I did a couple of years ago, X Factor, where I asked, I think 4 of my exes kind of the same questions to get a real response or whatever. So I think I'm going to go ahead and release that as our first episode of Linguistic Lips and get X Factor out of the way and then move on from there. But anyway, I wanted to talk about, I know I'm late, but you know, I watched the Magic City documentary over the weekend because, like I said, bored. So I watched the documentary, and when I watched that documentary, and I also watched the Freaknik one, and then I think I watched something else. Like, what draws me to that is I grew up in Atlanta, and you know what? I just want to say this real quick about the Migos. Why you feel like you got to justify that? Oh, I really don't live in Atlanta, but Atlanta support me. Whatever. Y'all know what Metro Atlanta is. Get them a break. Like, I mean, they ain't really together no more, but like, give it a break. I mean, I was in Norcross. I'm not really from Atlanta. Y'all can't really represent. Man, please. I grew up in Gwinnett too. I grew up in DeKalb County too. But if you ever got on the MARTA bus and went anywhere, if you went to Lenox Mall, Lenox Station, if you went to 5 Points, if you got on that train, you are Atlanta. You are Atlanta culture. So that's the first thing I wanted to say. Like, for him to have to reference, like, I didn't grow up in the city. Metro, you know what Metro Atlanta is. If your county touches that 285 inside, outside of perimeter, you are Metro Atlanta. You are part of Atlanta. You are part of that culture. You are part of what brought it, because it took them that Norcross money to bring it into the city to make stuff popping back in the day. But anyway, that's a whole nother rant. I just wanted to bring that up because I noticed he was on there. Quavo was like whatever, you're Atlanta, whatever. Don't let nobody take that away from you, whatever. So anyway, so when I watch things like that, because I'm from Atlanta, it's just the nostalgia of it. And like, I got emotional because like every time anything I watch, when they bring up that 1996 Atlanta Olympics, I get really emotional because it was just such an energy, and it was like a proud moment to be from here and be a part of that. And you know, people that know me personally know, like, that year, it was so many big things that happened in that year in my life. And you know, that's just another, so it's always going to be like a memory tied to a lot of things in my life. So like, seeing things like that, and then going back to the club scenes, and then, you know, when you was too young to be out in the club to see what the scene was like and how things were. And then when you get to the point when you start doing your own timeline, when you hear, oh, this happened, oh, I remember when I was here, I remember when I was there, oh yeah, I remember that time, oh, I remember that on the news, and I remember. But like, the whole documentary, I really enjoyed it. If you're not into like the strip club culture, I tell people all the time, like, growing up, like, going to the club, the strip club was part of going to the club. we didn't really see it as such a taboo thing. It's just another place to go to have fun and hang out with your friends. Yes, it's naked women walking around, but it was just like, it's just Atlanta culture. So a lot of people that come from other states and be like, they have this stigma about dancers and things like that. And with us, it's like, it's not a big deal. I explained to this young man who was not young the other day when he was talking about it. I said, look, I hear a lot of men say, like, I'm not finna go in there and throw all my money and not even get laid at the end of the night. I spent all this money. I'm like, that's because you have the wrong mindset. If you going in a situation trying to pay money to get some tail, you should have just bought you a prostitute. And I said, it's the same as you going to a play, you're going to a concert, you're going to see a movie, you're going to anything that's entertainment, you're going to a football game. It's a form of entertainment. And if you like this form of entertainment, or if it's like, you know, date night or whatever, oh, we're going to go here, blah, 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 and go home to your woman or your man or whatever and get the action going. That's like your foreplay, really, if you see it that way. Or if you see it as a form of entertainment, it's just another form of entertainment. Like, sometimes we got to get out of that mindset of, if I see a woman naked, I should be able to sleep with her. That's rape culture to me. But anyway, so so just looking at that and knowing, like, I grew up in that time and in the city and all the things that were going on. Some things, of course, I was living my life, like working and things like that. So I wasn't big. It wasn't big in my ear. Oh, the Red Dogs out there. It wasn't big in my ear. Oh, Meech is at the club. But, you know, to see that and then, you know, kind of tied into the show because I watched the show or whatever. But it's cool. It's cool to see your city. And it don't matter what light is shining on the city, just to see your city and, you know, you grew up in that time and the development. The biggest thing about it was Atlanta was this place where you could have a dream and you could come here and that dream could be brought to fruition with hard work. Like, even with, I like the fact that they shine a light on, you know, this is just a stepping block for these women. And it's like, it should not be your final, your end all to be all. You need to always have an exit plan. If you had to do this to get that money, to get out of college, to start that business, to help your family out, or whatever the case may be, it is legal. So it's legal work that you're doing. Don't, you know, and if it's for you, it's for you. If it's not for you, it's not for you. So, like, to keep the judgment out of the way, you don't know what's going on in these women's lives, or men in these lives, that they had to work these jobs. And a lot of these people came out of here very successful and living great lives, so their kids don't have to. And I'm glad they shined the light on that aspect of it. So, yeah, I thought it was I thought it was well put together. I don't know why Drake was on there. Maybe because he helped produce it, but I felt like, well, you could have just left him out altogether. He just seemed really, I don't know. It was just off to me, the way he was acting. But anyway, so I really like that. I really liked the, you know, when we watch these documentaries. I did not finish the Lake Lanier one yet. Maybe I'll do it later or whatever. I like that, and, you know, I even like watching other cities and see what it was like in these other cities and try to get a, you know, insight on that. But anyway, back to Atlanta being the Mecca. It's going overboard now, but it became this place where, you know, the stigma of the South and slavery and things like that, but then it became a place where Black people can thrive and own their own business and start a life and have a better life, and, you know, and it is what you make it. So we got to continue to do that and try to work towards that. I mean, you know, to each his own, but, you know, have some realistic goals out here and, you know, vote and put the right people in place that can help us with that and help us be able to strive and become better and better and better. So, but Atlanta is closed. Don't start bringing your tail up here now. Let's work on the people we got here right now. Y'all work on building and growing and getting those things together and building those businesses. But yeah, it just made me really proud. Like, as someone, I'm not from here. I'm from Jacksonville, North Carolina, and I've been here since the age of 5. So I went to school here and everything. So, but, you know, Atlanta is home. And again, I grew up here. So I might not have been born here, but I grew up here. So it was just those ties and those things. It's just very nostalgic. So, you know, so that's all I got to say about that. We'll get back on these dating things. I want to save it for the podcast because this is just a lot of questions, you know. And again, we're gonna have therapists on. We're gonna have some professionals on. So it's just not us just chitter chattering, and just have some base of what we're talking about, you know. I love, and I'm trying to be a part of the love, but y'all making it hard, man. You know, making it hard. So anyway, that's all I got for you today. Look out for linguistic lips. As always, love yourself and love each other. God bless.